Epic, your mic is going to be live from here out. Just
Mic check.
there,
1, 2.
there you go. Sounding good, loud and clear. And boom. Now we're both on screen for the people to see our smiling faces. Thanks for joining me, man. It's been fun getting to know artists across the country or whatever doing this show and kind of getting to like meet new people or whatever. You're an artist whose name I've seen around, and I've known your music for, I'm gonna say, at least a decade at this point. But I was living in Edmonton there for 12 years or so through my 20s, so definitely we were stomping around the same hip-hop scenes. But yeah, man, I don't think we ever actually got a chance to meet up and shake hands or anything. We still don't get a chance to shake hands, but I appreciate you coming through on Zoom to join us, man. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I think when you started going out to things is kind of when I ended going out to things. But I do remember seeing you at a couple of events.
Yeah, man, for
Yeah,
sure. And we definitely
and
know some of the same people and stuff like that, right? So yeah,
for
man,
sure.
you've been holding down the Edmonton scene for a long time. Um, Actually, like just off the top, have you always been in Edmonton, or like I know you've done shows across the map, and I feel like you have roots in Saskatoon because of the name of your label, but like, where
Yeah,
are you from, man?
I'm from I was born in Regina
Okay.
in 1972. Moved around a bit, but yeah, when I started in the rap scene, it was in Saskatoon. I was kind of one of the persons who, like, the crews or whatever that sort of started up. I know it sounds a bit ridiculous now, but we started up the rap scene in Saskatoon, our crew
That's
and
dope,
our
man.
rival crew. And it was funny, like I was out like a show, and there's like these rappers from Newfoundland, and they said, "Oh yeah, we're in Saskatoon last night," and I said, "Yeah, I helped start the scene there," and then they looked at me like I was like from like
Oh, sure you did. Yeah,
just
yeah.
making shit up.
That's funny, dude.
So now I'm hesitant to tell people that, but it is true. Like our crew, Becomer's crew, Isosceles crew, kind of did put handed out flyers and got people to shows out there, and then
Nice.
I moved it,
So
and then
does
I
that
moved
include
it.
like actually bringing people in? Sorry, we'll get to Edmonton in
Well,
a minute here, but like, were you actually booking acts and bringing them in? Like, is that what you kind of mean started up the scene, or
yeah,
more just
well,
doing local shows?
that's a good question. Like the first, um, actually the first one of the first two rap events. There, I mean, there was old school DJs, Master Hugh and Cool Kurt, rest in peace, and they were doing um like dance parties where they play rap because they had roots in the States and that. But
Sure.
we but the first like actual rap shows with people rapping, like, yeah, like we threw them. um and uh
That's
and yeah,
awesome, man.
it was really cool. And actually, like, um yeah, you know um we had like a DJ. He was good on the ones and twos and all that, and I mean, our equipment wasn't up, but we rented out a hall, and there's probably like, a few hundred people, and then we stopped the party in the middle because it was like DJing all night. And then a couple guys got on the mic, and no one had ever heard that before
Yeah, man.
in Saskatoon.
That's so dope. I mean, I've talked to, guys like DJ Dice or whatever about hip hop before the internet having to come up to places like Edmonton, or I'm sure Saskatoon would be much the same, but through, somebody's older brother who got to go to New York often, so he'd bring back records or whatever else like that. But yeah, man, like when you do say something like, I helped start the hip hop scene, it sounds unbelievable, but I believe you, man. I believe it. That sounds pretty on point, really. So when did you get to Edmonton?
I came in 2001, and actually before I moved to Edmonton, the winter before, there was like an MC battle here. Um, and I'd heard about it just like on the internet or whatever. And so I came down and I knew Noise from Uggs Mag and a couple people, and it was like a really awesome like rap battle before I moved here with, like all the OGs were in the rap battle. Like it was funny, like War Party, their crew. I don't know if anyone remember, like, I mean,
I'm
they
familiar with War Crew. I
before,
remember them. Yeah, remember their
yeah,
music, anyways.
yeah, before Snotty Nose Res Kids and like everyone putting on, it was like War Party,
Yeah.
right? And 118 crew, of course. And yeah, they came up and to battle with the female MC in the crew, for sure. She's like no joke. And a lot of the OGs like Matt, like Chaz, rest in peace, and me, and it was, yeah, it was a pretty awesome MC battle. I think Touch and Chaz battled in the final. This is like
Dope.
2000 maybe. And then yeah, and then that helped like when I moved here, because I met like people at the battle, and one rapper from Saskatoon had already moved to Edmonton, Vision, and yeah, and so then I moved here in 2001.
Nice. So okay, there's a few rappers named Epic across the country. I've seen you list yourself as so your name is with a C, his name is with a K, guy out on the East Coast. I don't know him. I know I've heard some of his music or whatever, but shouts to that guy too. But you sometimes go by Old Epic, or I've been putting like Epic from Saskatoon Folk Rap Records. Um, but I've seen it. You sometimes call yourself Old Epic, right? Like I've seen other people refer to you as Old Epic.
Well, yeah, maybe that's like a new kind of thing, but yeah,
Just
yeah, you
since
can
you
call
came
me
back,
that.
maybe.
I, you know, I met one night I went to a rap show here, and like a bunch of us went out after, and one of them was like Danny Epic from Red Deer.
And is he
and,
he's
and we were,
is he just new, or is he's the third Epic on the scene?
yeah, he's like a rapper from Red Deer that was like in that like King of the Dot battles.
Okay.
I like maybe like not, I don't know how their structure works or whatever, but online rap battles. And anyways, he came up here for the show, and like
Dope.
we were pretty excited to be hanging out with like two different epics.
Yeah, man,
So
that's awesome, dude. But okay, so something I've been asking people though is like, it's really prevalent that hip hop is seen as this culture for youth, right? That it's seen as a youth culture, and I feel like we're celebrating 50 years of this youth culture, so surely that means that like there's people who have grown up in and with hip hop that you know being you. So like I don't know, man. I feel like run with Old Epic because like dude, you got Lil this and Lil that and Young this and Young that, and I feel like you're like the exact antithesis of a lot of the rap that people with Young in their name are making right now.
yeah,
with your stuff, dude. But um I know you've been rapping like crazy lately though, man. Like Thomas from Han Solo was in chat, and before you joined me here in Zoom, we were talking about how you've got an album that is going to come out on Han Solo coming up. You've got a split 12-inch coming up. I think you told me you were doing a collabo album with Max Prime. Um, can you just tell me like what's up next? What's
yeah.
the first thing?
Well, yeah, like I started writing songs like about 4 years ago again.
Okay.
And just kind of the way it happened is that I like I've tried to, you like to space stuff out, but I don't know if it's going to get that spaced out. But yeah, there's good music on the way, and I did a split vinyl that we'd actually planned to come out like maybe last winter, and just it was delayed by a bit, and then the pressing plants, like we must ordered the record like 5 months ago, but what it meant to be was a sampler from a few different projects.
Okay.
So that's what that is. So that's going to come out with me on one side, and then Rob Crook's songs on the other. So I have the full length from Rob Crooks done, which is those 3 songs you played. And it's going to be called, well, it was going to be called Osborne Village, but now the artwork's done, and I'm considering calling it Osborne Village Apartment because it fits the artwork.
Okay.
But Osborne Village is, I flew to Winnipeg to record a lot of it at Rob's house, and it was in the Osborne Village area, which
Okay.
yeah, and I mean that, which has a long rap history of Winnipeg rap, and the record store there and everything, and so I got that, and then the other thing I'm working on is a hand solo record, and so uh, I got some Mocha only beats that I've recorded a few songs that are like I really love.
Nice.
And man, the Mocha only beats are like I've spent more time with those beats than any beats I've ever gotten before. Because
Want
like
to make them
props to,
count?
yeah, well, yeah, not only that, they're like the beats are really um like there's just something about the beats where like not all the raps, a lot of the raps I do on them sound kind of just like good, but not like awesome. Um, like not awesome in my opinion. So I've just finally got them the way I want them to sound. So that's really good.
Nice.
And
And
it's
that'll
got,
be for the Han Solo album then?
yeah, yeah.
So,
And so, yeah. And then I'm doing stuff with, further down the line, I got stuff with Deadly Stare from Montreal, who's like old school, endemic records, like just an OG. He helps put out like so records and all that.
okay.
Um, good beats, and that's kind of a fun project. And and then the fourth thing, I don't want to speak too much about it, um, but it may be the most accessible shit. Like if I ever blow up,
That'll be
which
the
I
one.
don't think I'm going to
Oh, come
at
on.
this point,
Why not?
but the songs are really fucking like they're really catchy, and that's I went to Comrade's place in Calgary, like an old homie,
Nice.
who's been putting out, and the Sergeant and Comrade shit,
Yeah.
which is like the best shit.
Really good. Yeah.
And so yeah, he's like an old friend,
Nice.
and
So, and he's been providing the beats for that project then, or?
yeah, but I only record when I go to his house, so
Okay. So it might take a while. Yeah. Dude, I feel like
well,
for an artist to be talking 4 albums ahead,
well, we got.
maybe the planning comes with experience or something, but that sounds like a daunting task to be that planned out that far ahead, man.
We got a bunch of work done though, like some really awesome songs, and it's gonna be with like Ira Lee.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. Are you familiar with like Ira Lee
Mostly
a
from
bit?
your work, yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, that's super dope too. So
Nice, man.
and I've been booking the public library here once a week and recording there, and Max is and my homie Burgerfinger from Discount Line Safari and Max have been rolling through the studio, and Max has been working on his stuff. And
Nice. I've always heard about like that the public library there has that setup, but I don't know. I've always heard it's real tough to book or whatever. You guys are finding time to get in there? It's easy enough.
well, yeah, well, I book a couple of weeks. I don't want to give my tricks out here,
Tricks
but
away. Oh yeah, yeah.
well, yeah, I
I
book a
mean,
couple
you
weeks in
mentioned it
advance.
already. Now people know. Yeah. But yeah, that's good, man. There's a lot of places to record in Edmonton, though. Like, it's a long ways to go to Winnipeg. How long have you known Rob Crooks for? Like, you guys must have had a pre-existing relationship to be going out to Winnipeg to do an album.
Yeah, like Rob's like an old school Winnipeg guy who homie who like hung out with like we go back 20 years, and he's done albums with like a lot of the rappers that came up with us in our scene in Winnipeg,
Yeah.
and which is dope. Like I saw you had Len Bowen on, and he's from like Shades of Black, and he was part of that like really great Winnipeg scene from back in our era. And it's funny about shows because my crew, like just to bring this full circle,
Yeah.
yeah, we did throw some of the first shows in Saskatoon. We actually threw, not me, but someone else in my crew threw like Shades of Black show in like must have been 1997,
Dope.
and Freak Show and like all that shit. Peanuts and corn back in the day. So that
Yeah, man.
uh,
I mean, a long time you've been a pillar on the like prairie rap scene. I feel like there's talk about like the West Coast rap scene, and there's definitely an East Coast rap scene in Canada, and then there's you know, Toronto, all sorts of music kind of from there coming out all the time. And people just skip over the prairies. I mean, Mickey O'Brien, I'm just gonna say it, man. You're skipping over Alberta. You're skipping over Saskatchewan. I saw the tour list, and I mean, it's dope that you're touring from coast to coast. But why fly right over Alberta? Stop in Calgary or Edmonton or whatever. But have you toured coast to coast? Have you done shows everywhere pretty much at this point?
yeah, yeah, I did Atlantic Canada in 2005 with Touch.
Okay.
Touch and I went out there and we did PEI in Halifax, and um where'd we go? Montague, Prince Edward Island.
Nice, nice, man.
Real small.
Yeah, dude, it seems like the hip hop scene out there must be alive and well, though, at least these days. Like, since I've been doing ATSIC, there's a ton of music that comes out of Halifax and, you know, even just Truro and places like that out there or whatever, out close to Halifax. But, so your newest album that people can go listen to right now is called Lawson, right?
Yeah, and that's a single.
Right,
That's
but
a single.
okay. Are there a couple tracks though? It was like released with a few other tracks, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah. What the new stuff is a single called Lawson, cuts by DJ K-Rec, produced by Mackie. And then the B side is I produced by Aries, a song with Gregory Pepper.
Okay.
And then the other and and so the Lawson's going to be on the vinyl, the sampler. And then the other thing I have out is a song with Max Prime for his album, and but that's on my Spotify page. So
Right. I think I
uh,
actually bought that one today. It was like something old friends society. I don't something along those lines, wasn't it? What's the name of that one? Old.
it's low budget, uh, or well, the low budget affiliates is the crew, but it's called Lost Buddies
Yeah,
Association.
that's the one. Lost Buddies Association. Yeah.
It's a play on low budget affiliates,
Ah.
which was our old Edmonton crew.
Okay. Now I get it. Now I get it.
But but well, here's the promo person in me.
Do it.
Yeah, go to Spotify, and like that's where all this music's gonna come out on Spotify, and of course Bandcamp, because I love
Buy music
Bandcamp.
at Bandcamp. Everyone should always support artists through Bandcamp. They get the biggest cut.
Yeah, for sure, for sure, for sure. And yeah, on Apple Music or wherever. But yeah, check those pages because I'm just gonna pour out this music, and then by the time I'm done the rollout, I'll be like 55 years old, and that might be it. So
Word.
right?
Thomas from Han Solo's telling me that Mickey O'Brien was here recently, and he did play Calgary within the past year. So I guess I shouldn't complain too much. But it just surprised me to see he was going back to Vancouver without stopping through again or whatever. But really, I was just disappointed because I missed his first show. Shouts to Mickey O'Brien. But yeah, man. So that Lawson album is right now. People can go listen to that. I've played it. I got to actually debut the thing before it was up on streaming on After the Smoke is Clear, the mix show that I do every week. There's the promo person in me. And yeah, man, thanks for sending that through. I appreciate you sharing these new 3 tracks. from the Osborne Village album. Looking forward to being able to play them on Attic when you give me the green light. But for now, I'll keep them under the hat, and only people who were here before this interview got to hear those. But can I ask you, like, for Lawson, where were you recording? Like, was that stuff from Calgary with Comrade, or like
No,
with Rob
that's
Crooks?
no, that's a Mackie Beat who did some of my old stuff.
Okay.
And so yeah, so just right before the pandemic, when I first started, he sent me that beat, and then I recorded it in Saskatoon at my
Okay.
home area, and then I sent it to DJ K-Rec, and I traded actually DJ K-Rec. I traded him cuts, so he did cuts,
Nice.
and then I rapped on a single with him and his crew, and it's on the Friends with the Help, and it's a Vancouver crew.
Okay. And it's
Um,
out right now, or will
yeah,
be
it's
soon?
out too.
Okay.
It's out too. It's
Nice.
called Tide Shift Remix. So
Nice.
that's out there too.
So can I ask you, just on a hypothetical basis, like, what's your ideal recording situation? I'm surprised that you don't have kind of like one hub you're always recording at. It sounds like you are happy to record wherever it kind of works out or whatever.
Yeah, well, now I've been recording at the Edmonton Library mostly. Um, I record at just Rob wanted just for the vibe, Rob, and just to hang out with Rob. That's why I flew out there to Winnipeg to record with him, and then I had to set up at home, but it's kind of packed away because the library I get better sound.
Right.
And a couple times a year I like going over to NATO's place too, just so we can catch up and hang out and
Yeah.
stuff. And
Well, and the sound quality there, another level too, right? That studio is beautiful. Um, so, I mean, have you ever had, like, is any of the stuff we're going to hear coming out this year going to be home recorded then? Like, you're just recording mostly at the library. Are you running the session yourself, or are you bringing somebody else in to do it?
yeah, I spent a lot of time during the pandemic just in my uh, at my house in my closet, just recording. So I'm pretty good with the garage band. Like, I don't know, I have one thing over a lot of not a lot, but I guess these, like, well, the MCs that make their vocals with 50 different punch-ins.
Word.
I generally just I don't punch in, but sometimes I do. Um, and so I've gotten good at just, like, kind of, I don't know, just punching in, like, and like mixing tracks or whatever. But
Okay. Yeah.
if I don't do it in one take, or and I punch in, I feel a little bit of shame. And then but if it's dope, I keep it, even though I feel a bit of shame for not doing it all in one go. And then I transport it, and then I usually forget that well,
There's
I think I
definitely
did.
different schools of thought on that, man. Like, I think the whole, like, one take or nothing, it's dope if you can do it, and when the energy comes out right or whatever on those takes, sometimes it's perfect. But sometimes, punching in just lets you get the enunciation or the whatever else a little bit crispier for a studio version, I feel like. But
Yeah, yeah. So I do some yeah, just work in the garage band on my own, and just, like, if I need to, I'll do it too. I think I did one song, like a patch of three or something like that. But it has to be like, I have to really like it to do, or really hate the way I said one word.
right.
Like, sometimes you say a
Yeah,
word,
you hear something back and you're like, oh no, we can't send that one out. Yeah.
but it's funny. I was like talking to someone, like, who's like an American, and if you say, like, as Canadians, if we mispronounce a word, like, a lot of times it's funny, the Americans won't even notice. Like, they'll think that's how, like, Canadians say that word.
Right. Yeah, just
So
the Canadian accent coming through. Yeah.
yeah, so I think that's, I don't know,
Yeah, word, man.
overrated.
Um dude, listening to your music, I sometimes wonder, like, are you freestyling? Do you freestyle takes that ever actually land on records, or Like, what does your writing process look like?
Yeah, that's a good question. Um, I have freestyled a little bit. Um, Words I used to write on paper and I switched to the Notes app a couple years ago. So it'll be in the Notes app, but I won't say it exactly as in my Notes app or whatever.
Yeah.
And sometimes I end up uh like different spots, or like I might freestyle like the end of it if I find that like I'm done all my words, but there still needs to be
The
like
beat's
time
still
left.
going. There's still, yeah, something to be said. Yeah.
Yeah, so I have that skill that I can freestyle just from like the OGs just free. Well, nowadays kids are having these ciphers, like YYC Calgary. I forget what the thing is either Freeze having that's super dope.
Yeah,
And
the outdoor cipher that they do down there. I see pictures from it. Yeah.
yeah, so it's been brought back, but yeah, I have that skill where I can uh, freestyle. But a lot of times or nowadays, because I'm at the library for 2.5 hours, I find if I don't like a part of a song, like I record it and it doesn't, and I'm like, oh, whatever, I'll just rewrite it kind of on the spot. Like I'll freestyle, and then if I'll fill in little spots with freestyles.
Nice. Yeah, that makes sense. Do you find it more fulfilling the being on stage performing the songs, or the recording and writing process? Like, I get different answers for
Yeah,
this question from different people.
yeah, I like both. Like I like performing for sure, especially yeah, especially when people know the songs. Um, but I like driving around. I listen to my own music a lot, so I like uh listening on. I have a CD player in my car, so the new projects, I can't wait to get them on CD and just drive around and listen to them.
That's something I've been meaning to ask more artists actually is, first, just do you listen to your own music at all? And more specifically, do you listen to older projects? Like, I can relate to driving around listening to the track I've just recorded or whatever. Uh, but I don't know. I hate going back and listening to old projects. As somebody with a lot of projects under your belt, do you ever go back and listen to them?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Dope, man. Yeah.
I do from time. I mean, it's like everything, right? Like everyone says, like there's like old songs that um, you know, like I like back in the day. Now they kind of make me cringe. Like a 20-year-old me that like a 50-year-old me is like, oh fuck,
Right.
you know. But all in all, like I'm pretty happy with all my old stuff. So yeah, I bump it for
Nice.
sure.
Nice.
I bump my friends actually more than I bump my friends shit from back in the day a lot. So yeah.
Dope, man. Yeah. Um, so when I sat down today to do a little bit of prep for this interview, I thought about, like, how do I describe epic sound? And then I was like, no, I don't even want to try to. But I want. Can you describe your sound? Like, how do you describe the hip hop you make?
Uh yeah, well, I would say like the if you take the artists that are like closest like the hip hop that I make, would be like probably So and Arlo. Um and I would call it like real prairie rap, a little bit folk, like a little bit of a folk element, um but like grounded in like ciphers, right, too.
Yeah,
So
yeah, definitely grounded in like kind of, lyricism, and the punchlines and stuff, right? Like, and even in battle rap, you hear that element come out in your bars, um, just kind of like talking down to the nameless, faceless MCs of the world or whatever, as MCs are so often doing. But I, so you mentioned that there's a little bit of folk in there. You're affiliated at least with Saskatoon Folk Rap Records. Do you run Saskatoon Folk Rap Records? What's your relationship there? What is Saskatoon Folk Rap Records?
uh Yeah, it's like it's changed over time, but right now it's like, yeah, like I have a big hand in it for sure. And but then I also have like the other people in it, like Rob Brooks. Like it's kind of a venue for him to put out some of the artists that he makes beats for on the label. And like we want to help Max out, right? So Max is like part of the crew, and you know, Nalto is always um you know, always down too. So
Hell yeah. So
so
more of kind of loose association of like people, like a crew, or like
well, we have the Bandcamp page. We're actually going to relaunch, right? Like the Bandcamp page, and kind of, yeah, like the idea is um I mean, like the gold star is that we're all going to get together and like help throw shows, and you know, put music out through the Bandcamp, and grow the label. And John B, like he's Max's old producer, can't forget him. And just build from there, right? But I'm also down with uh like with Han Solo, and Saskatoon Folk Rap. Like, you know, this label in Texas has helped us out, El Grani Records.
okay.
um but like the way the rap is right now, um and it's cool, it is that, you know, it's there's companies, but I mean, I think it's just more like banding together to like get music out there, right?
Yeah, and kind of
And
cross promote and get it to as many people as possible, right?
yeah, and so there's like people out there like like Quinlan is so, and I've been down with Han Solo Records, like first as a fan, because I you know, used to buy vinyl like even before, and then I have an album which is coming out. Aging Is, we're re-releasing the Aging Is, What Friends Do on vinyl on Han Solo right away.
Right. That was
So
from like '08 or so originally. I think I
yeah,
saw. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and so like Quinlan's such a like a back, or like such a help, and such a, like, you know, rock in the Canadian rap scene, that like I'm really proud to put something, another album, the re-release, and then another album out on Han Solo.
Yeah.
Um, Something I really want to do. So I kind of feel like I'm down. Uh, like I feel um I feel like my heart feels like, you know, a lot for Han Solo and for Saskatoon Folk Rap. Um, and I don't want to choose. It's like they had to make people choose between like Snack the Ripper and Mad Child back in the day,
Yeah, it doesn't have to be one or the other. People can like and support many different entities, and yeah, even be part of different crews for sure. I support that, man. It's all about spreading love out there. That's how we build community. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, man. So when we talk about like folk rap, do you ever perform with like a live band? Like I feel like folk rap could go hand in hand with like, and here's my band with all the instruments that a folk band would have, like have you done those types of gigs ever?
Well, no, like I mean, my friend Darren, um, like he was back in '08, maybe no, it was maybe '06. Like these bands in Edmonton would have me come open up for them, and stuff like that. And they always talked about doing stuff, but I never did. But the folk rap is really an ode to like the music that we were making, like back in the day, that it was hard to put a label on it, right? So someone came up with the term folk rap, and it never stuck. Like it was just a few people used that term back in the day,
Yeah.
and then when we came back, um, like you know, I called it. We and we anticipated putting the music out. Then we thought, well, we'll term it like Saskatoon Folk Rap. It was like kind of an ode to the music that like Ira Lee and so we're doing, and the some of the side road homies as well, right? Like um it was kind of an ode to that.
Okay.
But I don't know if that's necessarily a good description of what we do, but I mean it's I folk music. I like folk music and I like rap music, and so that's what. And yeah, anyways,
They
I
vibe
like
well
the name.
together. I mean, I go to a folk fest like North Country Fair every year, and they've got a side stage where there's always like rappers and their bands coming out to perform. If you like both hip hop and folk music, man, you should check out the North and South Country Fair. They both South Country's down by Calgary someplace, but yeah, both dope festivals that kind of combine some of that. But dude, you seem really well planned out with like where the releases are coming out. You were talking about promotion side even before this interview yesterday. You're like, hey, do you have a flyer for this thing that I can post? And I was like, I don't ever do that. I should, but I never fucking do because like I am trying to spin all the other plates, and it's one thing I've never really got to was the beforehand promo. But like right now, we have more people in chat than I've ever had for an interview over here. So shouts to them for coming through, and shouts to you for poking me and prompting me to do that, and I'll probably do it for all of the interviews from now on because it just makes sense to be doing it. But you obviously have kind of a business mindset and promotional mindset to get your music out to people. um, do you think it's important for an artist in 2023 to be business minded to a degree?
Yeah, like I mean, it's nowadays it's like no one really has the answers, right? But um, I can confidently say that that I know how. I'll say this: it's a lot harder to get my music out there now than it was in 2001 and 2002, which is amazing because like back then we just didn't have the tools now, but all the rappers were like driving to each other's cities and like
Right.
hanging out with each other. And to a certain extent, there's a few people that do that now, like Z was in Edmonton, and I've like ran into her in Saskatoon and Calgary. But back then, yeah, it was a lot of people were doing that. But yeah, I think I think it's important. Like, um, I mean, it's you know, it's if you love your music, then it's something you want to
Actually try
grind.
to get out to the people, right?
Yeah, to try and grind and stuff, like legitimate grinding or whatever. But yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely is a grind. The promotional grind, and especially like content creation the way it is now, like it's a lot to be doing as much as an artist is like supposed to be doing. And I know that a lot of artists don't really love all of that. Um, do you do it begrudgingly? You're obviously doing it. You're out promoting, and you're on social media. Do you enjoy social media? Uh,
Well, yes, social media is what it is. I think like what it is though is like I took a 10 or 11 year break. So
right.
it's like, so I mean, yeah, I have songs like on my Spotify page that are like 21 years apart. But the thing is like I feel like I've only been in the new game for like a couple years. So I got the energy I gained back. I mean, I'm 50 years old, so sometimes I need to take a nap before I get,
Word.
get
Nap.
the energy. But yeah, I got the energy,
Have a
man.
little nap before a wrap. Yeah.
I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go for sure on the promo game.
Word, man. Can you talk about why you think it's important to release physical copies? Because that to me feels like a kind of like 20 years ago versus now thing. There's a lot of artists who aren't making physical copies of anything. Um, do you think it still is important these days?
Yeah, well, it's like its own sub scene, right? Like like there isn't one whole rap scene right now. It's like a whole bunch of sub scenes. So I mean, it's a fun sub scene to get into, like making tapes and CDs and vinyl. I mean, vinyl is a lot more expensive, but
Yeah.
I mean, like something you could easily do is like a CD. Like I think they're only $400 for to press up, and yeah, I mean it's a fun thing to do, packaging orders and sending them out and stuff like that.
Even
So
beyond that, I feel like most of the people who are making their own music are also like collectors of other independent artists' music. Do you have like a collection of a bunch of independent music you've accumulated over the years? I would assume.
oh yeah, yeah, I got a pretty good I got a good Canadian rap collection.
I bet. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I mean, building one of those, that's so awesome, man. Like, so I encourage people to make physical copies too. I think that is important, and I like what you were saying there. That just the actual getting them out is a beneficial act in itself. Can I ask what brought you back from hiatus? Like on Spotify, your last album was from 2010, Scarface, right? Which is an awesome
Yeah.
name for an album. I love that name. Um, but
Yeah, that
yeah,
well that sorry.
no, go ahead. What's brought you back from hiatus, though, man?
Yeah, first of all, the Scarface, that was actually a mixtape that someone I uploaded onto Spotify. Uh, but it's from like a lot of those are songs that got cut from aging, um and then songs that appear on other people's projects. And I did a show in Europe, and they put that out, and I thought it was just going to be a mixtape. And then all these years later, anyways, it is what it is. I wanted to take it down, but Quinlan said, well, there's the Act on Stage remixes on there, the song with Chadio and all that. So yeah, so now I listen to it. But
Man,
um
I'm personally of the opinion that even if there are things like, whoever's discography we talk about, even if there are parts of it that are weaker, that are maybe not that person's best album, I still personally appreciate that the world got that album. I know that there are a lot of fans out there
yeah,
who hate on a weaker album and say that like, oh, he should have retired or whatever, but like to me, I want to hear my favorite rappers rap. As I want to hear all of it, I want to hear them crack open the vault and give it all out to us. So I appreciate that Thomas convinced you to leave that up there, man.
yeah, it's I yeah, it's people appreciate it too. And there's songs on there that if I took down, then I wouldn't be able to listen to on anymore. So I'm glad it's up there.
Yeah, yeah.
Um yeah, I think I just at some point I just wanted to start making songs again.
Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, just
Yeah.
went back to it then. Hey, picked the pen back up.
Yeah.
How about for your listening? I was listening through some of your older stuff, and you got a track there called "I Only Like Rap," which I love.
Yeah.
Do you still only like rap?
I no, I've branched out a bit. I hate to tell people are some people are really disappointed when I tell them that I no longer. But for about probably like 15 years, that's all I ever listened to is rap.
Yeah, I know the feeling, man. I feel like, yeah, walking around Alberta, you absorb all the other music just from like it being the popular culture that's out there. I hear enough other music as people drive by in their cars and stuff that I feel like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm
So
happy to
so
only listen to hip hop when I get the choice.
so that was my response jam. Like I took flack for only listening to rap, so I had to write a response to the critics.
I loved it, man. What else did I want to ask you? So you do a lot of things in songs that kind of are like flipping cliches on their head, stuff that I don't think a lot of rappers would really try to do. Like for example, Ah Hempsky kind of is like the trope where rappers rap about their home sports team or whatever, but like you do it in such a way that it's not going to be played on the Oilers like CBC Cup run or whatever at the start of their game. It's very very just like truthful and maybe blunter than the masses would be ready for it to hear before their hockey game or whatever. But uh I think that that was like one of your bigger hits, right? Like, and it's
Yeah.
it made me kind of want to ask, like, a lot of the time it seems as though you're kind of poking fun at typical hip hop, and at the same time, I get from you that you have a deep respect for traditional hip hop and love for, you know, for hip hop. So like, it's got to be a bit of a fine line to walk to kind of be jokey a little bit with it.
Yeah,
What?
well,
Yeah,
that's the thing, right? Like I love rap, but I sound the way I do sound, which I love too. So I'm just gonna like when I wrote Hemsky, I just like wrote like what I love about Hemsky, like how, because he's my favorite player, right? And then I don't know, I just went in the booth and spit the style. Where actually Touch recorded me, right?
okay.
Um, but yeah, like I mean, the thing is that like if a traditional rapper doesn't think I'm serious, like they can always mic battle me, right?
Yeah,
They
yeah.
can rap battle me.
And and your battle rap
And
skills are honestly legendary, man. I mean, we never met, but that was one thing that I heard about you, is that you don't want to battle that guy. uh so yeah, I think
I've taken some losses though too, for sure.
everybody's gonna, I mean, if you go out and do enough battling, you're gonna have a bad day or find somebody who's doper. There's a lot of, there's a lot of really talented people walking this earth. They're out there, you know. And sometimes they
Yeah,
pop up at the open mic for sure. um
yeah.
yeah, man, but so like, I feel like your music kind of hits a sweet spot between people who would like traditional rap and people who, I don't know, would maybe feel embarrassed to be caught listening to traditional rap, like a hipster crowd, right? Like, who probably aren't going to be listening to a lot of hip hop, but you manage to be a sweet spot where you're appealing to people inside and outside the culture, man. And I think that that's it, it's a great thing to be, honestly. Like, it's a great niche for you to have hit in Edmonton. I think it probably has lined up well for you. Have have you ever felt like, or how have you dealt with trying to belong in a culture where, you know, as two white guys, we're outsiders in the house of hip hop, right? Like, and especially rapping like you do, with the honesty that you do. Like, you know, you're rapping about like, mess with Epic and I'll push you into a snowbank type shit, right? Like, which is a real, like, threat that might actually be done, right? Which is hilarious in battle rap, because so many threats in battle rap are just obviously not going to be done. You're not going to skin that guy's mom. We all know it. Like, it's dope. I really respect how you come at rap, man. But I just wanted to maybe get you to talk a little bit about, I don't know. Do you feel like an outsider in hip hop? Do you feel like accepted by traditional hip hop crowds?
Uh, yeah, like I mean the prairie rap scene um is like, is really supportive. Like as you know, right? So just getting to know people and people getting to know me for sure.
Yeah.
Uh yeah, I mean I've done shows like lots of places, and people are generally, rap fans are pretty cool, right? Because like generally they don't um they accept you, and if they don't like your music, uh like they're not, they're just going to be like, I don't like it, it doesn't mean that I'm hating.
Well, yeah, man.
Now
And I
I did
mean,
rap.
go ahead. Yeah.
I did rap in Whistler once in front of some Australian like jocks
Right.
in the summer, and they were heckling, and that's the only time that I we I was with some homies performing,
I
and
was going to say, man, I
yeah,
think hip hop as a culture respects authenticity, right? So probably you win crowds over pretty quick when they realize, oh, this is real. This man's on stage presenting his art to us. Um, and that it's not actually a joke, which I guess kind of goes back to what I was talking about between like it's jokey, but like you can tell you take the craft seriously too. So yeah, man, I think probably that authenticity shines through, and
yeah,
yeah,
I
for sure.
appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Uh, Here's a question I've been asking people that I don't know, you might have an opinion that takes me by surprise on, but is there a right and a wrong way to make hip hop?
Uh,
Like, is there
yeah.
hip hop you don't like?
Is there hip hop I don't like?
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. There's. Uh, I mean, every rap fan deep down is a hater of some form, other form of hip hop.
I love it, man. Yeah. I have really had to swallow a lot of my hater energy that I carried over the past decade as I've been doing at Sick. And now I just take to promoting the stuff I really love and just not
Yeah,
really commenting
but
or thinking about the other stuff too much. But
but I do like I listen to stuff, and like people are surprised, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you really bump that." And
yeah,
it's not like I don't bump it all the time, but like I don't mind that. Like that Super Gremlin track's pretty awesome, right? Like a new
uh, news to
you
me.
know.
I'll have to get you to send me a link
There's some
afterwards or whatever.
I'll send you some mainstream rap, and you can I send to some of my friends, and they usually say, really, you bumped this?"
um, so you kind of touched on this one a little bit earlier, but you told me that like back in the day you used to have a big team of people who would do stuff like make posters and flyers and that type of stuff for you, and it would come together just kind of easily. And that these days it's a little bit less so. The team has narrowed down a little bit. And that's
Yeah,
kind of like a reversal of what I would have guessed as far as like I figured in 2023 you'd be having an easier time making a flyer just because of the technology advancements where we can make them on our computer or whatever. But can you talk a little bit about like the promo hustle back in the day versus promo hustle in 2023? Because now I think a lot of it can be done online, right?
yeah. Well, back in the day, well, like the main promo was um like printing posters. Like you'd print up 300 posters, and then you go around town with a staple gun, and you staple them up to the pole, like for whatever a show that's coming up.
Yeah.
And then uh, and then in between the shows there'd be a rapper that you don't like, and he'd put his poster up, and then you'd rip it down.
Yeah, I can remember it, dude. I did a show in Edmonton where I had 4 different posters made, and we just went out super obnoxious style with everything and went like right over top of everybody else's posters with a variety of posters for the same show. Yeah,
Yeah, DJ Weasel back in the day, he used to have the poster game on lock.
yeah, man.
But yeah, it was the poster game. And then I mean back then, like the thing is that everyone was doing up CDs and stuff, right? And people were like, you know, there's like distro companies that would, there still is, but like back in the day, like it was more so that like people were getting CDs like out to, there's more of the stores and all that. So
Right. Sending it
so
out to
that
the independent stores and even like HMVs and stuff. Like I was talking to Word Burglar about getting his stuff into HMV back in the day or whatever. Um,
yeah.
so yeah, that physical grind was probably tougher trying to figure out distribution back then, I would guess. Like would have been a lot of shaking hands and trying to knock on doors, I would imagine.
Yeah, well, my back then my homie he handled distribution and all that. And then before him, it was like Peanuts and Corn, McEnroe, um, and yeah, like they would there'd usually be a guy like McEnroe or so, and everyone would send their CDs to to him, and then he would ship them out to different stores and all that. And then Halifax had their like distribution, like they had a record store, and the record store distributed stuff.
Okay.
Back in the day. So that was like you were trying to get on one of those. Like, um, lucky for us, like our homies were doing it, but yeah, you'd get. I mean, it was good and bad. Like you get like someone who'd like at a certain distro company, and he would like certain music and not like other music for no reason, just like a taste, right? Like,
Yeah, just a
and
little
then
bit
you,
easier to gatekeep back then, probably. Hey?
yeah, and so it was good. It was bad, like if some random guy in like wherever didn't like your raps, but he liked all your friends' raps, then it was like you weren't he wasn't buying. He's buying 50 CDs from all your friends and zero from you.
Yeah, weak.
So it's always been kind of a weird thing, but I mean, yeah.
Well, and now, I mean, now with digital distribution, it's $16 to get your song onto Spotify and out to the world, and then beyond that, it's kind of the same type of boots on the ground hustle to get people to actually come out to shows, buy the merch, buy the physical copies, that type
Yeah,
of stuff, right?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
man. Do you have any? So I ask everybody this because I just love hearing people say it. What's the best way for people to support you or other artists that they like in 2023?
I think the best way is um whatever way you listen to music to, like if it's Bandcamp, then buy my stuff on Bandcamp. If you're on streamer, if you're a streamer on Spotify or Apple or all that, or then like listen to the music, and if there's a show, come out and support
Hell
and
yeah,
all that.
yeah,
I
and
mean,
word of mouth goes a long ways too. Tell people about the music you like.
yeah, and it. I mean, I think we're at a point now where like we want the culture to keep going, like for another long time. So I think we're at a critical point now where like if we like something, we really need to support it, um,
Yeah,
for sure. And
that's
it
very true because otherwise the mainstream will take over. They're happy to pump out stuff that is not a very good representation of the true culture of hip hop and promote that to the people as rap music and as hip hop or whatever. But yeah, I think you're very right there in saying that people need to support what they like because well, and like even if that means find the music you like on the streaming platform, but then maybe go buy it or maybe go drop 99 cents on the single just to show some support, show some love or whatever. That's
yeah, or show your friends the music too, right? And because yeah, like what is great about like prairie rap and Canadian rap, because I'm a fan of Canadian rap too, like Backburner and Word Burglar, and like the Vancouver homies Chadio and Azrael, and
yeah.
um
Shouts to all of them. Yeah.
DJ K-Rec. Yeah, like
Can you tell me about DJ K-Rec? You've mentioned him a few times and I am unfamiliar, so you should tell me more about DJ K-Rec.
yeah, well, DJ K-Rec is like just a Vancouver DJ um for a long time. And he kind of has a crew that I see. I don't know him too well,
Word.
but I know him. I know him, and he's homies with the homies. And I've kind of made a point of like sending messages to him because he was on my friends in Vancouver had a podcast,
Okay.
and like he like down with their crew, and he made a point on the podcast of saying that he listened to my music and all that. Like
Oh,
this was
nice.
maybe 4 or 5 years ago. So since then I've made a like kind of um it's a long story, but he also put out an album with Serengeti, this rapper Serengeti, on my friend's record label, and so I got a CD there, and then um, I met his crew when I went to hang out with my friend Joe and Chadio, his friend Nigel, him and Nigel and Rosmo and me and Chadio and went out and freestyled in the park off Commercial Drive.
Dope.
So
yeah, mostly I just wanted to know where Buddy was from or whatever. It's the more information, the better, I guess. But yeah, just hearing his name, I'm always kind of building the Rolodex of who's who across the country or whatever as I do the show.
Yeah, check him out. Check out his group, Friends with the Help, and like a couple other like crews that he rolls with.
Dope, yeah. I always ask people to name some artists from their scene who people should be up on. So we'll count him as one of those there for sure. Anybody else you feel like giving a shout out to who you think more people should listen to, or who you've seen doing cool stuff lately? We've mentioned Z the Free without actually giving proper props to her. Calgary based, I believe, MC who's doing a lot of community work and stuff.
Yeah, see, I like I've been listening to old Gorilla Bones, aka Planet. I think you've had him on here.
Yeah, he was on last week actually.
Yeah, definitely like listening to his music. And he's down with Sergeant and Comrade too. Like in there, and I've known him for like years and years. My homie like Nalto for sure. Like Kits Willman.
Right.
All
people I play on After the Smoke is
I'm gonna miss
for sure people.
Yeah, I'm gonna miss so many people, but yeah.
Oh, this would be a good time. Before the interview started here, I was talking to Thomas from Han Solo in chat, and I asked if he had any questions for me to direct towards you, and he said that I should get you to tell a story about Conspiracy, who recently passed away. So rest in peace, Conspiracy, and wondered if you had any
about Conspiracy.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I was thinking about this story, but yeah, I remember and Conspiracy is just an amazing person. Rest in peace. I remember one time there was like a once in every like it was like one of those one every 80-year celestial events.
Okay.
Like some sort of a meteor thing. I think I actually looked it up, and it happened in like 2002 or something like that.
Okay.
And it was all over the newspapers. Yeah, like if you guys want to see this, you're gonna have to stay up late till 11 o'clock to see these like meteor shower in the sky or whatever.
Right.
And of course, Conspiracy never, like, he didn't read the newspapers or follow any
a guy named Conspiracy. Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, Kari, let's stay up late. And so 11 o'clock rolled around, and we went outside, and it was like a clear night, and we're looking at the stars. And he didn't know that it was a once in 80-year event, but he says to me, "Epic, the stars look really cool in the sky tonight."
That's awesome, man.
He was excited.
That's awesome. So was it like a meteor shower, actually, like a lot of shooting stars or something?
Yeah, I think it was like, I can't remember. I think it was like some sort of like comet, like with like a tail or something.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Or something cool like that, right?
Cool. Dope, man. Well, thanks for sharing that, man.
I used to have this rap that I never ever got to, but like they talk about Western alienation, like with like the West wanting to separate, and I said I had this rhyme I was going to use about like, all that to me, Western alienation is Conspiracy in a spacesuit.
Word. Yeah, that sounds about right, man. It's yeah, definitely a bit of a pie in the sky for
Is
anybody
out
who
there.
thinks that Alberta should be separating. I think that always makes me laugh. How well, what do I want to ask here? This one. Can you describe the local Edmonton scene as it is now, and maybe when you first got there?
Yeah. Like the scene when I first got here was there was there was there was three scenes really, and it was like the scene from like that a bunch of like I guess the backpacker you'd say rappers, low budget, and there'd be a show like maybe once every 6 weeks, and everyone would go, and sometimes people from other scenes would come too. But and then there's the scene with like Arlo Maverick and like the people that he rolled with, and sometimes I went to those shows.
Right.
And then there's this like kind of a South End sort of gangster rap scene, and um and yeah, it was, but it was like you could go to any show and people would be really nice, right? um and yeah, it was just like when there was a show, it was like the event. And but it wasn't artists, like everyone would go because there'd be like, you know, like they'd rotate kind of the local groups that would open, and there'd be like some not perfect but sort of an informal way of making sure that everyone got a like all crews got a chance to like rap. And then that made like it was good in that way because that made sure that like people were always going to shows and supporting, even if like it wasn't, even if they weren't rapping, they knew like at the next show or the one after they get their chance to rap,
Word.
right?
Yeah, and get in front of other people's fans or whatever, other people's friends, or and get out there and spread their music a little wider, right?
Yeah, so that was super cool. Now it's like and there's good and bad of everything, but now it's more like I went to the event. There's more sub scenes now, right? Like I went to the event outside the 50-year hip hop,
Yeah, I saw you
and
rapping at that one actually. I watched a video. A local guy from Lethbridge, Donnie Sage, was up there, and
yeah,
yeah,
there's Lethbridge rappers there. They're cool for sure in
yeah,
Calgary.
yeah.
It was a great event. And but then after like like there was like lots of like rap people that didn't even know about the show. But it was
Yeah.
such a great, like it was such a great show. Like everyone should have been there. But it's just like that's just like like it'd be absurd 20 years ago for a show like that to happen and people not know. And but yeah, we have like the internet now.
Yeah, it might be more absurd for it to happen and have them not know now, because how could you miss it? Yeah, if everybody's putting it on social media and stuff, right?
Yeah, but I guess I don't know, I guess it or like when I went to the Chesky show and Factor Chandelier, like there was people in like other sub scenes who didn't know about that show. So
Yeah,
it's that's just the way it is.
just a little
I'm
bit
still,
disconnected feeling then these days.
yeah, I'm still trying to figure it out myself, kind of how to um how to, you know, I don't know.
Well, what you need to do is be like me and follow 6, 7, 800 different independent rappers across the country, and then you'll know every time anybody has a show anywhere, as long as you're just always scrolling Instagram constantly. That's the secret to running something like AtSick, anyways. Just constantly ear to the street.
Yeah, you probably know like all the shows going on for sure.
I see
Yeah.
them. Yeah, I see them. So actually, something I saw on social media last week was Arlo Maverick. He was doing like an interview, and he mentioned that in his opinion, I hope that I'm not misquoting him here or whatever. I'm going to talk to him in a couple of weeks. No, actually, I'm talking to him next week, August 29th. But he was saying that in his opinion, the mid like 2000, from 2000 to 2010, I think he said, was kind of the Edmonton golden era of hip hop.
Yeah. That's the era I was talking about. Yeah.
Okay. So you'd agree with that assessment then, that those kind of that decade was when it was most popping in Edmonton?
Yeah.
Word. Okay.
For underground. For underground. I mean, I say under. I guess like Politic Live was on Much Music and stuff, right? But I still kind of consider them underground.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and especially like in Edmonton locally, it's not the dominant culture, right? Like, so yeah, I consider rappers from Edmonton to be underground, whether they're the guys who have toured internationally or not. Like, because there's definitely a handful of those guys too. But still, when they're
Yeah.
at home, it feels underground to me. Because yeah, the main culture in Edmonton is not one of hip hop. But dude, this has been a really good talk. I've really enjoyed talking to you. Do you have anything else you need to plug? You got shows or tours or anything like that coming up?
Um. Yeah. Like I guess. Yo, this is Epic. Han Solo Records, Saskatoon Folk Rap, help with El Granny. Uh, check out those labels. Follow me on Spotify or wherever, and I'll have the next one. Next album out will be with Rob Crooks, uh, coming out this fall, and it's going to be called either Osborne Village or Osborne Village Apartment. Um, yeah, support Prairie Rap, and yeah, how's that?
That was great, man. I'll cap that off by telling people if they want to find more independent Canadian artists to hear, After the Smoke is Clear is the mix show that I do every week, and currently we've got DJ Baggy Lean on boards doing blends and cuts for that. So tap in online, mixcloud.com/Doobyis. That's where you can find the free archives of the show. I play Epic's music. I play music from the guys he's mentioned. I've played Rob Crook's music, Nalto's music, Asriel Rap's good. All the people across Canada. I tap in as best I can and play as much of it as possible. So it's all about promoting the scene, man. Appreciate you.
And you rap too. And you rap too.
I do rap too. Yeah,
you do all that, and you rap too.
I haven't, put out a ton of music lately, but I will. I backburner my own stuff so that I can promote other people's music for free. That's honestly where I'm at with it. But it's fun.
You're humble. You're humble,
and it's nice to get to meet people, right? But you know what? I'm tapping in and I'm learning a lot of stuff, talking to different people across the country. So there is definitely a side of this that is like me kind of building knowledge too of like how other people have done this shit. And building the playbook a little bit. But I appreciate you coming by and sharing some of that knowledge and those gems with me and everybody else. And hopefully, people learn something and learn about a new artist and go whatever, check out some more artists from the scene across the country. But yeah, appreciate you coming by, man. Thanks for doing this.
Okay, I appreciate you too.
Hell yeah. All right, well we'll shut this down, and I'll be back on stream in 1 second here, guys. Peace. Epic. Okay, so that was that. Once again, mixcloud.com/Doobyis is where you can find the weekly shows. One time I won an award that said it was the best rap program in Canada. It currently isn't, but shouts to the guy who is. And I'm coming for that spot. We're coming back next year or whatever. But yeah, it was dope talking to Epic. And if people like this type of content, I'm here doing this at least every Tuesday on Twitch. Otherwise, I might be here gaming or recording my own music like Epic was mentioning. I do have like a studio here in this room as well, so sometimes I get the pen out and start writing my own stuff. But for the most part, it's all about After the Smoke is Clear and Fly in Formation recently. So if you want to see other interviews I've done for Fly in Formation, I think I've talked to 32, 33 artists now across the country. They've all been good. They've all been fun to talk to, and they're all up on my YouTube. So I think it's youtube.com/Doobyis. Doobyis.com is also a thing. That's the hub for everything that I do. For every episode of After the Smoke is Clear, I've been doing little write ups talking about the songs. It's like a half a review, maybe a couple sentence review. But yeah, appreciate y'all coming by. And again, thanks to Epic for doing this. It was a lot of fun.